America, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Stefan Molyneux is our guest, author, researcher. I could talk to Stefan for 10 hours. Got a bunch of economic news, geopolitical news, environmental news, a lot of hardcore information coming up. And I've also got a list of points I want to go over before this next hour ends. But in the 4 minutes we've got left, Stefan, I want to thank you for joining us, A. B, other points that you see on the horizon for 2011. Do you think that the awakening, that we can really say 2010 was the year of the awakening, or do you think I'm wrong on that point?
I think that we are still in the process of awakening. Obviously, it's not a sort of bookended black and white deal. I think that the amount of energy that we need to pursue, that we need to invest in waking people up has never been greater. I think 2011 is going to be a make or break year. I mean, there is obviously momentum in the downward movement. We need to try and get people to wake up. On the plus side, people are getting enough empirical evidence and emotional uneasiness about where the system is. Everybody gets deep down that the current system is completely unsustainable, particularly with the explosion in astounding deficits over the past two years. Really since the war, but since the wars began. So people get mathematically, fundamentally, you don't have to be a PhD in mathematics to know that we are in a completely unsustainable situation. Everybody understands this. The unemployed, tragic though it is a wake-up call. You know, the system is no longer working for you. Middle-class incomes have stagnated or declined since the 1970s, since we went off the residuals of the gold standard, and which is entirely predictable. People get that the dollar has lost over 90% of its value since the Fed came in. Ron Paul, in talking about auditing the Fed, is waking people up to the fact that they swim in this ocean of fantasy money, which is bleeding away their resources. So the fact is there's so much evidence that we're not talking about an island over the horizon that we're afraid of hitting. It's within sight.
That's right. We're here, and that was the point I was trying to make. To quantify it, I'm saying I see 2010 as the time when the momentum began to shift, and I saw a greater amount of awakening in that 1 year than I'd seen in the previous 10. So I see that as a quantum acceleration. But also, I see the gun coming out of the holster, as you said, where the Secretary of Defense openly says last week, I don't care what the American people want, or if 65% are against the Afghan war, it's going to continue. I mean, they're really being more brazen.
Yeah, and what have we always heard? If you have nothing to hide, you should not be afraid of scrutiny. Well, of course, with WikiLeaks, we can turn that exact same question back to the government and say, if you have nothing to hide, why are you afraid of some scrutiny? And the government can, of course, rifle through our bank accounts and our internet activities and our health records and anything else that you could imagine, or our tax records. But the moment we turn that light back on the government, they start calling for the assassination of a foreign national who has broken no U.S. laws. They're calling for a hit. This is something out of a mafia movie, and it's gone without significant comment in the mainstream media. A hit has been called out for on Julian Assange. That is kind of a thing that once you see it and once you point it out, you can't really go back to the cuddly government that's just interested in protecting you from dangerous people overseas. So I think that the violence, the hysteria, the aggression, the panic, and the disasters are accumulating to such a degree that when you say the system is fundamentally broken, people will agree. Now, when you say it's fundamentally unrepairable, people still have a problem, but at least they know that something has to change, and they also don't want it to change for the worse. We still have enough residual of classical liberalism, of libertarianism, of, you could say, even the ancient Greek devotion to personal liberty. We have enough of that residual left that we can still turn it around, but we really have to get behind this wheel and push and push and push.
Stefan Molyneux, I want to do 3-4 minutes with you on the other side because I want you to really be able to boil down your political view because when you call yourself a classical liberal, that's what I call myself, a modern conservative will think then that we're communist. I mean, they've really changed the terms. So I want to get down to terms and language.
Folks, you've heard us talk about Home Gain before. Home Gain is now offering a special promo where you get up to $150 when you buy or sell a home with a Home Gain agent you find through their Find a Realtor program. Home Gain lets you compare realtors anonymously. It's easy. Go to homegain150.com to find and compare realtors anonymously. Enter promo code HOMEGAIN150 and receive up to $150 when you close a deal with a Home Gain agent. Share the Home Gain 150 promo code with your friends via Facebook, Twitter, text, and more. Look for Max, the Home Gain Gorilla, to find out more about how Home Gain is going to pay you. Visit HomeGain150.com today to enter your promo code and get paid for buying or selling a house. That's HomeGain150.com. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As they're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, Stefan Molyneux is our guest for just a few more minutes. And then we're going to get into the economy and a smattering of other really important news, including these reports that are up on the Drudge Report. In fact, guys, I hit print on these. Will you grab them out of the printer for me? Thank you. 100 young people ransack store, mall closed, tumult, plan promoted on social media sites. There's also just all sorts of unrest and craziness increasing all over the world. Drudge is also linked to our story asking, are the 20 miles of dead fish and the thousands of dead birds raining out of the sky connected to government testing? Well, that'd be my number one guess. That's our number one suspects. I mean, if government's just engaged in secret radiological, chemical, biological testing over and over and over again, then why would we not look at them as the number one culprit? But going back to Stefan, and if he just joined us, he's an author. He's written on Truth, Tyranny of Illusion, universally preferable behavior, a rational proof of secular ethics, real-time relationships, logic, love, everyday anarchy. It goes on from there. The website's freedomdomainradio.com. Our websites, of course, are infowars.com and prisonplanet.tv. But again, if you read 1984, he was just covering and putting down in fiction what he'd already witnessed, working for government, working for communist, working for BBC, working for the imperial police in India. And George Orwell, a.k.a. Eric Blair, or vice versa, he wrote about destroying the language, reducing it down to where basically humans just make noise, 5 or 6 noises like a chimpanzee or like a cow. And now I see the studies out all over the world. The language is shrinking. People can't communicate. They take it as threatening if you can form complex ideas. But I don't think humanity is irrevocably broken. But when you say something like, a classical liberal, the average dumbed-down mainline conservative, who isn't conservative at all, they love the big defense budgets, they love it all, they think that means you're saying you're a communist, when a classical liberal is the opposite, aren't they?
There's no word left that hasn't been polluted by statism through which you can describe yourself as a freedom lover. So if you say, well, I'm a pacifist in that I oppose the initiation of force, then people think that you just want to lie down and have people go through your pockets and you're not in self-defense. So you can't use that. You can't use anarchist because then people associate that with idiots throwing bombs in malls, as you say, and there's not any particular coherence to that, even though people like Noam Chomsky call themselves anarchists. That's just not how the media portrays it. If you call yourself a liberal, people think that you're into big government programs. If people think if you're a conservative, then people think that you want government to restrict gay marriage or whatever. So we've really been crowded out of the discourse, which is why I simply say I'm a philosopher. There are certain conclusions that I accept as a result of the rational application of philosophy. So I try not to describe my conclusions because I don't want to be identified by the conclusions. Like if you're a biologist, you don't say, well, I'm a Darwinist, right? You just say, well, I accept certain theories of evolution as scientifically valid or whatever. So you don't want to, I think I really try to avoid identifying myself by my conclusions, right? That I accept that a state and society is the only rational and consistent application of the non-aggression principle. There's no group of human beings that you can fence off and give virtually limitless power to and not have it turn out badly. I mean, that's just not a good idea at all. It's not how people organize neighborhood blocks. Like if they want to protect their neighborhood, they don't just give a tank and a bomber and an army to some guy on the street corner and say, well, you take care of it all, because they know that that's going to end up badly. So I try to avoid conclusions. What I try to do is to say, well, I'm a philosopher, I accept reason, I accept evidence, and therefore this is where it leads. And hopefully people will start thinking along those lines. But yeah, you're right, there's no word left that you can describe. You say, what are you? As, I don't know, carbon-based life form is the best I can come up with. So you're right, the language has been really polluted, and that is a great challenge for people.
I mean, I find myself every day, I say I'm exposing the left-right paradigm, because if you can shatter that and show how they divide us from each other so that we can be played off against each other instead of going after the actual social engineers, those that seek to limit knowledge, those that seek to dumb us down so we're more easily managed. But then to even communicate with the general public, I have to use left-right paradigm terms to then even introduce them to new ideas. And again, I don't even claim to have that sophisticated of a worldview. I just know that the direction we're going in is absolutely destructive by any historical, common sense, philosophical perspective. Stefan, it was great talking to you. I look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Good to have you here with us as one of the first guests in 2011.
Thank you so much, Alex, and a very happy new year to you and to all of your guests. And let's make this the year where we gain real traction and begin to really turn this thing around in a powerful way. And it's really important that people act decisively and concertedly and intelligently, because if it's not us, who is it going to be? And if it's not now, when is it going to be? The time's running out. So thank you so much for the conversation. I really do appreciate it.
Stefan, great having you with us. As John Connor says, if you're listening to my voice, you are the resistance. Look in the mirror, folks. That's who's going to fix it. And Hollywood puts these archetypes in our minds that it's got to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger or, some type of Atlas character, some type of, all-powerful Hercules archetype that is going to vanquish the slathering hydra. That's not how it works. It starts small, little steps, little things. But